Hi guys, we're going to really quick do a short lesson in science. We're going to talk about animals. I was unable to get pictures. Our printer is still working, still not working. So I did go through and I found some books. They are not the books that I would have because those are at school. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk real quick about the different animals and show you some examples. And then there'll be a video to watch and an activity to do. So here we go. So the first one is mammals. Remember, mammals have hair or fur. They breathe from lungs. Um, they give birth to babies that are alive, and mothers feed their babies milk. So I'm going to show you some mammals. So we've got a deer, baby deer. This is one of the animals that's a mammal because it has fur. The mommies give birth to their babies, and they breathe through their lungs. So that's one of them. And as I go through this, I can show you that we have chipmunks. Chipmunks are mammals. They have fur on their bodies, and their mommies give birth to them alive, and they breathe air through lungs. And let's see, we also have, looks like a groundhog or a prairie dog, fur, and they breathe through their lungs. The mommies have birth, give live birth, and they drink milk from their mommies. So those are some of the things that you can find out with the mammals. So they are, that's how mammals are. The next one that I'm going to talk to you about are reptiles. Okay, reptiles have scales. They do breathe through their lungs. However, when they have babies, they lay eggs. So we'll look at some pictures of some reptiles. So we have, let's find a good one. Okay, we've got some lizards. They have scales on their bodies and they lay eggs for their babies. So we have some lizards. Snakes. Snakes are reptiles. They have scaly skin and they have lungs, but they also give birth by laying eggs. So their babies come out of eggs. Okay, let's see. This one's kind of hard to see. I don't know if you can see. These are turtles. Turtles are reptiles. They have a hard shell, and then they don't really have skin or scales, but they have a hard shell, and they lay eggs, and they breathe out of their lungs. All right, the next one are birds. Now, birds have two legs. Birds usually have a beak, and they're covered with feathers. So a bird is covered with feathers. In this one, you've got some tiny birds right there. And in this book, you'll see on the front, you'll see a toucan, and we have got um, a gallinule. I've never heard of that, but there's a bird right there. And if I go through, there's what you see on the beach, seagull. And you can see that they still breathe through their lungs. They have beaks and they're covered with feathers. There's some macaws. And they have feathers and wings and they fly. And some owls. And so a bird, they lay eggs. They breathe from their lungs, but they're covered with feathers and they have two legs and they have beaks. All right, we talked about amphibians. Now, I do not have a book on amphibians, but those are animals that started off as a baby and they lived underwater and they breathed through their gills. And then as they grew up, they started to develop lungs and were able to live on land. So amphibians, they live in water for part of their life and then they live in land for part of their life. They started off breathing through gills and then they developed lungs and then they started breathing through their lungs. And then they also have slimy scales and they also lay eggs. So that is the difference between amphibians. And the last one we talked about were fish. Now, fish live in water and they always live in water, and fish breathe through their gills, and fish also lay eggs. That's how we know what they are. So we've got looks like some sharks. Hmm. Okay, we've got seahorses and clownfish. There's a shark, and I know jellyfish. I'll show you some pictures of some ugly ones. All right, so that was our little lesson on animals and the type of animals that are out there. We have mammals that have hair or fur that drink or have babies are born alive and their babies drink milk and they breathe from their lungs. We have reptiles that have scaly or slimy skin. The babies are born in eggs and they breathe from their lungs. We have birds. Birds have feathers. They breathe from their lungs. They have 2 legs and a beak, and their babies are born by their mommies lay eggs, and the babies are born from eggs. We have amphibians, which are they live in the water part of their life and on land part of life. So they have gills to breathe out when they start life, and they develop lungs later on, and they're born from eggs, and they also have scaly skin. And the last one was fish, and they have scales or slimy covering. They have gills to breathe out of, and they're born from eggs. All right, so make sure you watch the video and do the activity, and we'll see you later. Have a good day. Bye.